Hey y'all, Jamie, that's me here. Listen, we got to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. For me, I feel like this was a pretty good episode. Y'all got to let me know how y'all felt about the episode overall. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Bronwin picks up Ty in this beaver costume, okay? And she tells him about Whitney being upset with her for telling Meredith what she had said about her pretty much abusing alcohol and drugs in so many words, right? So she says Whitney isn't going to trust her moving forward. And I'm like, as much SHI as Whitney has done with this group, girl, you should trust her. Well, anyway, Todd says everyone should sit down and pretty much apologize to each other because even she may have done some SHI. So she flipped her head around as soon as he said everybody should sit down. And I got why she flipped her head around because it's like any other time you be sitting up here like you can't stand the ladies, okay? I told you to stop going around them, and now he always has something negative to say. So for Todd to say something positive, and really, let's be honest, Todd ass is in the doghouse. Todd is in the doghouse, and that's why he's trying to act like he's really interested in what she has to say about these ladies. Okay, so he suggests they do a sit down, sort some stuff out, and she says that she wants to celebrate her citizenship, right, and have a little, spill the tea Boston party, some type of spill the Boston tea party, which is unique, and I think it's cute. So I'm here for it. Now Whitney over there talking to her husband, and this right here is like, oh my God, Whitney, I hate it for you, girl. So she says that she saw a large transaction that was sent over to one of their vendors. And she's like, wow, that hurts. And I'm like, well, girl, was the money not supposed to go to the vendor? So he says that they had to make it right to the people that they owe money to. I said, now I'm with you on that. Now I know we don't want to make it right, honey, but if there was some form of a contract and you got to pay these folks, pay the people their damn money. All right. Now he says that they had to make it right with the people, and she says that she knew not to do it, and she did it anyway. And what it sounds like, she trusted him with her business. Okay, she took her company and merged it into a new entity, and she is now fighting to get her name off that shit. She's trying to get from up under the ownership. She's trying to get back everything that belongs to her. Wilder's Beauty, the name, the brand, the inventory. She's now trying to separate herself from this entity as well as her husband. So she doesn't believe she was told all the truth, and he feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like I was told all the truth either. Right now, she goes on to talk about her goal was to get him away from MLM. Okay. And I think MLM stands for multi level marketing. All of that stuff can be very dangerous to me when you're dealing with MLM, because it makes me think about what is it, LuLaRoe or something like that, that company that had a documentary over there on Amazon dealing with that multi-level marketing and how they ended up getting sued for practicing in other states, and now they got to pay all this money and stuff. And it's like, girl, whenever I hear MLM, some part of me is like, stay away, stay away. That's what I think. But I mean, maybe because I'm also not as knowledgeable on it. Maybe some people have been able to be extremely successful depending on where you live at. Right? I think Herbalife. Remember Herbalife? I feel like I think it's still around, but I just don't feel like people push it as much as they once did before the pandemic. Herbalife, so many people used to talk about it and push it. I think that was MLM. Is Mary Kay MLM? If it is, I feel like they don't count. I feel like they're a little different because they've been around for a very long periodically time. But I did hear when you win, like when you sell oh so much and you win that car, it was something dealing with that Mary Kay card that you win. I think if you ever stop doing Mary Kay, you got to give it back or something like that. I don't know if you got to pay the note on the car or if they cover that for you. I can't remember. The people that work with Mary Kay know somebody that won the car or is somebody that's won one of the cars. Hop down in the comments to give me the tea on the cars. Because I could have sworn they said once you stop doing Mary Kay, you don't keep the car forever. You got to get a damn car back. And do you got to pay anything for the car? Because I can't remember if that was an issue or not. But let me know. But anywho, all that multi-level stuff, it's like, first of all, Whitney, you probably should have did better research instead of just relying on your husband. And I don't even know why you would do. I guess, yeah, she said they dangled money in front of her, but Wilder's Rose or whatever, Wilder's, I guess she saw it as like a Mary Kay brand. That's what Whitney had to have seen, a Mary Kay brand. That's why she wanted to do it. I don't know, girl. That wasn't the best move, and you see now that it wasn't the best move. She says the same week that she decided to go all in with them and do this MLM link up, she ended up meeting the owner of Sephora. right? And she says, y'all just pretty much flash numbers in front of me and all of that. And I just felt like because I trusted you, I just went with it. Like, okay, if my husband is all in and he's supporting me and he's giving me more support than he's ever given me since I started this, then it can't go wrong. Y'all see how y'all have plans and people can come in and knock you off your square? Child, ain't that something? And she could be doing so much better if her stuff was in Sephora. Now, Whitney, just because you met with the owner of Sephora does not mean that your products would have ended up in Sephora just because you met the owner. That's not a guarantee, right? In time, it may have, maybe you probably would have got rejected from Sephora despite you meeting them and still would have been finding yourself in this MLM situation because you saw the greed, you saw the money. Okay. But anywho, that's what people do when they create products. So she says that she's really mad at herself about it. And I'm like, yeah, you should really be mad at yourself because you didn't trust yourself. So as much as you are upset with your husband, you definitely need to put some of that blame on you. Okay. That's just how I feel about that. Be mad at him. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you definitely should be mad with yourself. And you need to feel that so the next time you could trust yourself a bit more when it comes to business decisions for yourself. So she says this was the first time that he believed it could go to the next level if she did things his way. And I'm like, that's another alarm. MLM was one alarm, right? The second alarm, and then your husband already have a legal situation when it came down to business or something. Maybe he had to quit that job and had to find another one, but he had some legal business issues not too long ago. But anyway, so the MLM was a flag, and the fact that your husband did not believe in you until you start to do things his way. I guess whatever it was, she followed him down that path. Now look, she's trying really hard not to resent his ass. I do get her frustration. I completely get Whitney's frustration. He says that he doesn't know what else to say to her, but sorry for getting her involved with it. I mean, what else do you say? What else can you really say? I mean, all you can say is sorry, but I don't know. I feel like it's more details we need to know about the situation. But she says that she needs him to understand that it's hard to separate him from the business. Okay, so it's really given. She's slick, can't stand your ass. She's slick, want to do away with you, but she really needs you high key. That's what's really going on. But she's sick of this. She's tired of you. But anywho, child, that's what they got going on. And so I felt like when it came down to it for me, I just felt like he wasn't that moved. When she was crying her eyes out and stuff, I just felt like Justin was just giving shoulder shrug, like, oh well, like, he just didn't seem that moved, even though he was all I could say is sorry. It did not give a truly genuine sorry to me. Am I the only one? It was something about it. And because also it was giving, I hate you had to go through that, but it ain't really my money. I ain't really lose as much as you lost. But you over there forwarding money from one place to the other. And I get it, y'all gotta pay the vendors and take care of stuff. I get that to avoid further lawsuits. I get it. But he just, he didn't seem fully connected. Bronwin meets with her mama. All right. Bronwin meets with her mom. We learned that pride flags cannot be displayed outside of any government building. So she's trying to put the pride flags up in every building that's not a government building. Okay. So if you're not going to see them over there, baby, you're going to see them over here. So she says that she knows her mom does not support stuff like this based on her politics. But her mom tells her, like, listen, I'm just trying to support you at the end of the day, and I like doing crazy stuff when it ain't got nothing to do with me, honey. I like that kind of stuff. So Bronwin says, she worries about what her mom, she said, I think her mama said, plus I'm at a place where I don't worry about what other people think of me. And Bronwin is like, well, I do. I still worry about what other people think of me. I worry about what it is that you think of me. Right? And her mama's like, well, yeah, you should, you know what I'm saying? To some degree. And Bronwin is like, I know one of the things that you like the most about me was me. Well, one of the things that you hated the most was the fact that I got pregnant with Gwen. And now I think that's the most thing that you love about me. And that's when her mama tells her that she's a great mom to her daughter and she should be very proud of herself. And I love this whole sit down conversation with Bronwin and her mom because I felt like that's what Bronwin needed. Okay. Bronwyn needed this conversation with her mom for whatever healing, for whatever she needs. She needed to hear that her mom loves her mama supports her mama got her back, all of that. Okay. Her mom tells her that she's a great mama. They got into all of that. I just felt like the moment between the two of them were really beautiful, right? Her mama did tell her, like, I don't know how to always open up and share my feelings because my parents didn't do that with me. I knew they loved me. I knew they cared about me, but they didn't always do the PDA. Okay. They didn't always give me that public display of affection and all of that. They didn't really do that, have those conversations, be vulnerable with me. And, that's how I turned out. But I love that you hype your daughter up. There are certain things that you do for your daughter that I did not do. And I love that you're doing that. Like, you're changing things, and that's how it should be. So good for them. Okay. That was a really nice moment. Now we get to this Boston Tea Party. So everyone has their one ceremonial tea that they can throw into the harbor, but they have to label it with the person's name that they felt they have been spilling the tea about, right? Real cutesy bootsy. So Angie starts with Lisa, and she said Lisa made an announcement about her buying a horse a few weeks ago, and Angie says that she was over there talking to SHI about her with other people because she didn't believe that Lisa actually went and bought a horse. And Lisa's like, well, girl, I did buy a horse, okay, and I'm also thinking about buying another one. So that's that. And Angie said, oh, what would you do with two of them? Lisa said, that ain't nobody's business. Oh, it's not? Well, it really wasn't our business that you bought the first horse, what you told us. So why you don't want to tell us now? You love making announcements about stuff whenever you one upping people, or you doing better, or you got this and I got that, but you ain't want to make no announcement about the horse that you bought. Oh, okay. Well, Miss, I love to brag. It is what it is, because Lisa was done with it. Now, Brittany asked who spilled the tea about her flirting with JWoww. Who did that? Everybody's like, who the hell is JWoww? And I was wondering who the hell that was too. But she's saying JWoww. I don't know what's going on. That's what she said. Right? She says, me and Jerry broke up about it. Mary said, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Wait, Brittany, why you be fucking lying? And this is what I be talking about. What do you mean you and Jerry broke up about it when you came on the trip, the yacht, you said y'all had already broken up? So why are you saying that y'all broke up about it, but y'all been broke up? When y'all had the conversation, y'all were already broke up. That's why I didn't even understand why he was feeling away about anything. Like, do you be hearing yourself? So she says, me and Jerry broke up about it, right? Whitney says that, she kissed him. And then Brittany was like, no, I did not kiss him. I kissed him on the cheek. I'm like, well, damn, you still kissed him. Whatever. So she says Jerry got the memo that she was making out with the guy. That's how he heard it. So Whitney says, well, all I told to my husband was the fact that you deserved it. So come to find out, it was pretty much Whitney that leaked out the information about Miss Brittany getting cozy with the guys, okay? It is what it is, right? Whitney says no one says she made out with that man, and that's what it was. Heather brings up Todd making out with someone and then farting. Heather, why are you bringing it up again? You just said not too long ago how you felt so bad for Bronwin. I feel so bad, and I hate that Bronwin has to go through this and deal with this type of stuff again, and yada, 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 and bloop de bloop. Remember you had said that, and then now you over here bringing it up again? Heather says, so it's not funny at all, and then Bronwin's like, throw your fucking box over. Throw your box over, girl. I don't find this shit funny at all. You spilled it. We've heard it, girl. Let's move on. I said, I know that's right. I know that's right. So Heather agrees to throw the box over, and then she's like, can I apologize? I'm sorry. And then I think she covered her face because she probably was still laughing. Like, anyway. So it's Bronwyn's turn, and she lets Whitney know that she wanted to warn Meredith about something that had went too far. She knows it upset Whitney, and she apologizes about spilling that tea that she shouldn't have spilled, right? So Whitney asks her, well, why didn't you stop me mid-conversation when I was talking about her? Right? And Bronwyn's like, I did. Now, Bronwyn, why would you lie? Why you be lying? I did. And Whitney said, no, you didn't. You laughed. Flashback shows, she laughed, okay? Bronwyn says that she apologized to Whitney and says that she thought she was confiding. No, she apologized to Whitney. Like, I've already apologized for that. And then Whitney is like, but I thought I was confiding in you. And it was a private conversation. That's what I thought I was doing. And then Bronwyn says, you should take that up with her. Take it up with Meredith. I'm not the keeper of Meredith's wine, girl. Okay, don't do me. All right. And Whitney's like, I'm not either, but I am the keeper of a private conversation. Okay. And you pretty much broke my trust with that. And you're making me sit up here and look like the bad guy. And it's like, you are the bad guy, Whitney. How is she making you look a certain way when she just told what you said, which was facts? Like, you are the bad guy. So Bronwin says you're uncomfortable with her knowing. If you're uncomfortable with her knowing about it, then you probably shouldn't have said it. I said, I know that's right. If you're uncomfortable with her knowing about it, then but you should have never brought it up. So Whitney says, you think I'm going to call a belligerent woman 2 days after we land? Girl, Lisa was belligerent at her event, that luncheon she did. That legal luncheon she did, but it didn't stop you from going over there into that belligerent woman's face, putting your hands in it. Okay, so Whitney, you be pissing me off. So Meredith said, if you want to go there, let's go there. Everything I said was the truth. And Whitney says that she's like, you didn't yell. She says you didn't yell on a plane and didn't taunt her for 6 hours. So that's what you did do. You didn't yell and you didn't taunt her, right? And Meredith says, no, I didn't. I didn't do it. Whitney says, can I have a crazy pill or whatever that y'all been taking? And so this is where Lisa said, well, apparently you've already taken it. Girl, I fell out. Apparently you're already taking it. I said, I know. Whitney is like, okay, I'm a liar. All right. Anything I say isn't true, but you had other witnesses there, so you can't call me a liar if other people witness what I witnessed, right? So Meredith says, you are a liar. Okay? And you know what? We can get into it. Let's get into you for a little bit. All right? And Whitney says calling her a liar triggers her so deeply. She says they gaslight her and they never take accountability. Whitney says, you want to call me a liar? Let's do it then. Alcoholic, pill popper. Girl, who? So she called you a liar. And instead of you saying you're another one, you're a bold-faced liar, you turn around and call this lady an alcoholic and a pill popper? Insane. Go to bed, Whitney. Go to bed. Okay? I just don't feel like that was right. To me, I just think she took it far. So Meredith put that box down and she pretty much stood up when Whitney said this, baby. I thought Meredith was finna clock her. Then when she stood up and faced like towards the cameras, I thought she was finna say something to the producers. But instead, Meredith said, I got some presents for you guys. Like that, I would be scared to get to prison at that moment because this is real awkward. So she goes, grabs the presents, and she has them unpack the whole bag. And guess what? It's a drug test. I said, yes, Meredith. I said, yes, let's go. I know that's right. Yeah, I got a drug test for everybody. Meredith says, I'm happy to take a drug test, okay, every day of my life because I've been telling the truth. She said, and if you've made any type of accusations about me as it pertains to me, abusing substances, then I think that you should take the test. I said, let's go. Let's go. So Whitney gets in her deflecting bag bad. Baby, when I tell y'all Meredith gagged the fuck out of Whitney didn't know what to do but deflect in my personal. So Whitney says she was reacting to Meredith's actions on the plane. She's like, every time you wake up, you get more mad. And Meredith's like, okay, so I'm not allowed to sit with my thoughts, think about it, and feel how I feel afterwards. So I'm not allowed to do that. And Whitney's like, well, yeah, you are, but I'm describing my experience with you. And I've seen your behavior and I recognize it. So now you're reinforcing after you just called this lady alcoholic and pill popper. Girl, take that test. Okay, so I feel like, damn, we going from the plane incident to making it something much more deeper. So Whitney says, Meredith, you're deflecting. She says the woman is deflecting and then says it's a very sensitive topic in her household. BITCH, I don't give a fuck about your household hoe. If I was Meredith, I don't give a fuck about your household hoe. Understand? I don't. Because you didn't give a fuck about my household when you sat up there and said the shit that you said. And that bitty bop boo headed. So Brittany didn't give a fuck about my household when she pushed the narrative and continued to put out there whatever she found on fucking TikTok and wonder why I wasn't on her ass on that plane. What? It just happened the night before. Why y'all think I'm finna wake up and be happy-go-lucky? Hell no. So I don't give a fuck about what's going on in your household. So Whitney says in the confessional that she doesn't know what's going on with Meredith and she hopes none of it's true and wishes Meredith knew how she cares about her. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Okay? Bye, girl. With your lies. I wish she knew how much I cared about her. Girl, go ahead on. So Lisa says that's a huge accusation and she's weaponizing her experience. I said, I agree. That's a huge accusation. You weaponizing your own situation or what happened within your family against somebody else. But you recognize it. You recognize the behavior. Girl, that's some messy stuff. Now, let me tell you, the reason why I feel like it's messy is because, Whitney, because your dad exactly dealt with those things. If you started to be emotional about something and people start putting that narrative on you, that you're an alcoholic and a pill popper, you would not like it. And you'll be so devastated. You'll be even beyond triggered that people would associate your father's issues with you, his damn child. I just don't think that's cool. To be showing your ass on the plane for one reason, because you upset about it. Because when Meredith don't have to be under the influence to snap on a hoe. When she did what she did to Brittany last year, when Brittany took that recording, I don't think Meredith was drinking anything. Meredith was pissed the hell off, but I don't think she was under the influence of nothing. Y'all had just got on the damn bus. Right? Meredith go like that, 0, 100, whatever. So I don't think that lady was drinking. So it's one thing to show your ass on the plane because you're emotional about some SHI. And this is the second time or third time that Brittany done pulled some stunt like this, right? And then it's another thing when somebody's calling you an alcoholic and a pill popper. Lie. BITCH. Now, if somebody said that about your husband, which is why he finagled all that money out your business or something, then you'll be upset. Missed businesses are off limits. So Whitney lies and says she was going to have a conversation with Meredith and that the opportunity got away from her. Girl, please. Please, girl. You could have talked to her after church over there with Mary. Shut up. Even though y'all did, you really could have talked to her before church. But you wanted to be around the group. You was going to talk to Meredith, but you went and did a link up and a celebration of all about Brittany, but then talking about whatever Meredith did was going to be a hard thing for you to come back from. Not for her to come back from, but for you to come back from. It was going to be hard for you to come back from. But you was going to go have a conversation with her though, right? Stop that. So Meredith says she didn't yell at Whitney, right? And Mary says, yes, you did. Mary is like, that's not how I recall that happens. Mary goes on to highlight specific things that Meredith said to Whitney. I have to believe Mary. I feel like one of the most unbiased people amongst the few would be Mary, in my personal. I believe Mary, okay? Unless they show the footage and the footage is different, you know. So with Mary saying that about Meredith, it also took me to the point where if Mary heard that, Heather, you heard it too. And you pretended to be asleep. And now y'all all want to be upset about how Meredith came at Brittany, but none of y'all tried to get in front of it, stop it, or calm her when y'all ass was on the plane. But now we on the ground. Y'all want to heighten the situation to be bigger than what it is versus protecting or defending Brittany or even switching seats with her or something. Y'all wasn't doing nothing. So that's where the problem for me comes, where she said some things, yes, but the way that y'all are making it out to be kind of makes me feel like she didn't do it how Whitney and Heather are trying to say she did it. But it is what it is. Please show us the footage that y'all may have at the reunion. So Heather jumps in and with the same same thing she said the last time, like, you made us choose. And it's like, why you keep bringing it up? Like, why is this an issue? Why you keep bringing it up? So Meredith didn't say that on the plane, though, because I'm thinking we talking about the conversation on the plane. And because I think when she asked Lisa, what did she say? What did she say? What did she say on the plane? She didn't say that on the plane. She didn't make y'all choose on the plane. That was before the plane. Right? And that's when Lisa was just like, whatever you talking about, girl, I don't know about what you talking about because I wasn't there for that, or whatever she said. Right? So Whitney thinks the drug tests are deflection. And I'm like, not necessarily. Okay? It may be for you, but she brought it and she also said that she's willing to take a test. Whether Whitney, I think she said it was projection, deflection, one of the two, but whatever it was, Meredith was willing to take it with you. She just wants all the people that's been accusing her of it to take it as well. Take it. Take it. You the one that's backing out of it from the moment. And that's what Meredith called out. Like, oh, not the person that had the most to say, now trying to throw it to the side. Meredith wasn't wrong. So Whitney, do you do drugs, boo? And I'm not going to put that on you like you did Meredith, but since your business has been going down, baby, down, okay? Since it's been going down, ain't no telling what you've been over there abusing. Hello? Yeah. So Heather crying now and says, Meredith questioned her loyalty. You questioned my friendship. You questioned my experience. I wasn't there. Heather says that she's triggered. It reminds her of being in church where she pretty much is being gaslit. She had to worry about the Mormons gaslighting her, and now she got to be concerned about her friend gaslighting her too. The way Heather and Whitney was trying to make this shit about them, y'all went from this being all about, y'all are kind of giving Kiana a little bit, a Real Housewives of Potomac. The way this is supposed to be about Brittany and what Brittany experienced, but Heather keeps bringing up, you tried to make me choose. And Whitney's like, I can recognize behavior. And it's triggering to me. The way y'all are trying to make this shit about y'all is like, what is going on? What is going on, girl? So Heather poured her heart out. And Meredith is just like, well, girl, it's not going to get resolved now, honey. So we might as well just move on. All I could do was laugh. Heather did all of that only for Meredith to be like, okay, let's move on. So Bronwin goes and she changes her dresses and she's ready to make a friendship amendments or something. So everybody go around and get a amendments. Bronwin says families are off limits. Lies. Heather says be a woman of your word. You start first. Lisa says be the friend you expect others to be. You follow suit. Mary says listen and pretty much forgive. You do the same. Whitney says business, marriages, and children are off limits in your dreams. Okay. Angie says be very careful about saying things without documentation. True. Facts. Follow suit. Brittany says see the best in people. Then Meredith said, she says, hear ye, stop the reactive abuse. I felt Whitney had to look up what reactive abuse. Then she told Heather, thank you. She told Heather, thank you. And not Heather, but Meredith in the confessional. She said, thank you for describing yourself to us in so many words. Girl, these ladies are a full-on trip. Meredith is not going to take any accountability for however Brittany may have experienced that plane ride. Okay, she's saying everybody is over here hyping up the SHI. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all, but I didn't do that. Whitney and Heather making it about them. And it's just the key. But the way Bronwin got Whitney together, I was so glad. Like, girl, if you didn't want her to hear it or whatever the case, you shouldn't have said it. And you over here trying to call somebody a troll and say stuff. Baby, I wouldn't mind seeing Whitney versus Bronwin. And Bronwin, you better light her up. Okay? But that's all I got. Okay? On the latest episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. You guys leave your thoughts and comments down below. I am Jamie, that's me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters. I'm silent. Nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification. Them numbers hit like it's a proxy.